discovered was 116,000 USD. But Silicon Valley in 2021 was up to 128,000 USD. So by implication, Silicon Valley with 128,000 USD could even be higher than the highest country, the biggest economy per head, Luxembourg, with around 16,000 USD per head. And in Nigeria, our GDP per head is just little higher than 2,000 USD. But Silicon Valley is 128,000 USD per head. Look at the gap. What they did in Silicon Valley around 1979, the name was coined by Don Hoffler. He was one of the founders of Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is being termed as the tech capital of the world. Most of these technology companies emerge from Silicon Valley. Go and see, count them all. Most of them are from Silicon Valley. And it's a very small area. And it's all about providing mentorship, which I hope I will speak on how our northern part of Nigeria could be able to learn from Silicon Valley and other tech cities in the world. Because this is very important indeed. When you come to Nigeria, our economy in Nigeria as at December 2022 was valued around 504 billion USD, which of course is the largest in Africa, followed by Egypt, then South Africa, then Algeria, then Morocco. With 504 billion USD, is a huge amount. However, number one, our economy in Nigeria is more of a private sector economy. Because if you compute our national aggregate demand on one hand, and the entire federation revenue accommodates 36 states from FCT. You will discover that 36 states from FCT are contributing less than 8% to our collective national aggregate demand. So by implication, the private sector controls more than 92% of our GDP in Nigeria. However, due to lack of awareness and mentorship, still our younger ones in northern Nigeria fail to understand why it is important to go into private sector as digital innovators, as digital entrepreneurs, as employees. We always prioritize working under government. There is no harm in doing that. The whole life is nothing but division of labor. However, we must agree that your career development, your capacity building, the opportunities all over the world are better in the private sector than in government. And this is what the southern part of the country understands. Today, when you travel to the US, to Microsoft, I was there, you will discover many Nigerians. Out of 50, you can hardly see one from northern part of the country. I was in Microsoft before, I was in Apple, I was in Silicon Valley. Recently, I was even in White House for US African Leaders Summit. I met many Nigerians. None of them was from the northern part. Why? We fail to understand what is driving the economy today. Any graduate, his intention is to get employed by government, at local government, state or federal government. This is our situation. The world is changing. All over the world, working under government is not the priority. If you discover it's not the priority, why the opportunities are not there? We always say job security. Where is job security? The job security is not in the employer, but rather is in the employee. Recently, Elon Musk took over Twitter. Immediately, he sacked some of their senior staff. At the end, he couldn't manage the company without them. He had to go to them, apologize, and lobby them to come back. Without them, Twitter cannot be sustained globally. And they gave him some conditions and he accepted, and they returned to work for him. This is job security. Build your capacity to the extent that any institution you leave, that institution will not be the same. This is job security. The job security is not in the employer, but rather in the employee. Look at the economy of Lagos. What is driving the economy of Lagos today? It's not just about the geographical location of Lagos only. Lagos is not more than 4,000 square kilometers. The smallest state in northern Nigeria, Gombe, is 5 times the size of Lagos State. But the economy of Lagos, if you look at the internally generated revenue of Lagos, is not in any way related to that, but rather the concentration of companies in Lagos. The concentration is number one. And most importantly, to be fair and just, Lagos was the capital of Nigeria. That one will continue to make Lagos very relevant. If you go to Turkey, they transferred the capital to Ankara, but still Istanbul is leading the economy. You cannot take that away historically, there is no doubt about this. But if you look at the tech giants that are coming to Nigeria, more than 97% of them are in Lagos. And this is what is driving the economy today. The IGR of Lagos coming from these companies and others, today if you put it together, is higher than the IGR of the entire 19 northern states combined. With a population that could not in any way be less than 120 to 130 million people. In addition, when it comes to Nigeria, firstly in Africa, we are battling with the challenge of unemployment and sometimes unemployability and even underemployment. According to the International Labour Organization, we have approximately 420 million youth in Africa within the workforce bracket. Out of this, 1/3 of this population is unemployed. So by implication, one may wish to say we have a minimum of 140 million youth that are unemployed in Africa. And another 1/3 from that underemployed. So by implication, another 140 million youth are underemployed. Only 140 million youth are employed. But the remaining 280 million youth are either unemployed or underemployed. This is a time bomb. If you come to Nigeria, based on the report of the National Bureau of Statistics, only last year, the general unemployment in the country is about 33.3%. However, I always argue that NBS, when computing their statistics, and I mentioned this to the DG when he visited me in Abuja, during their computation, they usually ignore informal jobs being created. They focus more on formal jobs. And secondly, decisions and computation and statistics are being collected online. Most of the things that are being conducted offline are not recorded. However, looking at the situation NBS is conducting this, their effort is highly commendable because they have so many challenges, so they are doing well. But when it comes to youth unemployment in Nigeria, one may wish to say, based on that report, that our youth unemployment was around, in 2022, was around 22.5%. So by implication, around 48% of our youth are either unemployed or seriously underemployed. What is the major problem to this, and what is the solution to it? The major problem to this, I'm sorry to say, firstly, we lack mentorship in northern Nigeria today. There is no mentorship. I'm not ruling out that we have some that are doing their best. We have some selected personalities and some selected organizations that are partaking in mentorship. But looking at our population, that is highly inadequate. Number two, the quality of our population is dropping and diminishing by the day. The quality of youth 30 years ago cannot in any way be equated to our youth today. Most of them are energetic, but they are not willing to suffer and establish their career. They are looking for easy money. When you advise them about what they need to do, they will ask you, is it what you are doing today? But none of them studied your biography. None of them know how you suffered in life before you attain where you are today. They only look at the position you occupy. You are a vice chancellor, you are a commissioner there, a rector of that polytechnic, a businessman. So they just want to be like you. But in the course of being like you, they don't want to suffer. And the major challenge, anyone who advises our youth could be criticized, could be insulted, irrespective of his age, or his knowledge religiously, or his status in our community. Today in northern Nigeria, our traditional institutions can always be criticized by our population. But if you go to the southern part of the country, there are some of our friends and colleagues. You cannot go to their states and criticize their traditional rulers, even if they make a mistake. I know a former minister who criticized his emir. He had to come out and apologize online and travel to his state and apologize. And it was not a bad statement. But today, Sultan will just come out and announce about new crescent of Ramadan or Shawwal. Somebody will sit at the comfort of his house at the age of 18, but he will criticize Sultan. Our respected scholars, some of them are 80 years, 90 years, like Professor Murshid here with us, Galadanchi. Elderly people, people like Sheikh Tahir Bauchi, people like Sheikh Sani Haya Jingir, all of them, anyone can be criticized as long as what he says is contrary to our opinion. So we live in a situation that no one is respected. Anyone can be criticized today by our population. I know in 70s and 80s, one could not look at the eyes of a friend to his elder brother and say you are telling lie. It could not be possible. Even a friend to your elder brother. But today, the situation is no more the same. People without religion, when you visit their country, they respect their elders more than what we do here in northern Nigeria. So our situation is exactly what Sa'adu Zangur describes. Jahilci ya ci lakar mu duk. Ya sa mana sarka hawuya, ya sa mana ankwa hawuna. Bakunan mu ya sa takunkumi ba zalaka sai sharholiya. Yace wagga al'umma mai zatawo a cikin zarafofin duniya. Yace kai Bahaushe ba shi da zuciya za ya sha kunya nan duniya. Mu dai haƙƙin mu gaya muku ko ku karba ko ku yi dariya. Dariyar ku takan zam kuka gaba da nadamar mai kin gaskiya. Gaskiya ba ta neman ado ko na zakin muryar zafiya. Gaskiya ba ta neman ado ko na zakin muryar zafiya. Ƙarya ne mai launi bakwai. Ga fari da baki ga rawaya, ga kore ga kuma algashi, toka-toka da ja sun garwaya. This is our situation. Yace wagga al'umma mai zata wo a cikin zarafofin duniya. Today with our population, for example in Nigeria, there are 5 unicorns that originated from Nigeria, out of 7 in Africa. Unicorn is a startup that has a market value of a minimum of 1 billion USD. And these unicorns are established by youth. I visited most of them. They had been established by our friends in the southern part of the country. Go to see OPE, Flutterwave, Andela, mention them. There is none from northern Nigeria. And I'm sorry to say, all the challenges we inherited to provide the enabling environment, Almighty will be a witness. All the challenges in the north, we have addressed them significantly. Number 1, in order to support our youth, we came up with National Startup Act 2022. President Muhammad Buhari, our principal, assented to it on the 19th of October 2022. If you go through whatever you need to be successful in digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship is there, seed funding, tax holiday, intellectual property, pioneer status, whatever you think of, including establishing a presidential and national digital innovation and entrepreneurship council to be chaired by the president of Nigeria. This has been addressed. By 2019, when I became the minister in charge of communications and digital economy, we discovered that the broadband and internet gap in Nigeria, if you compute it, the places without internet, without broadband, 97% of that was in northern Nigeria. Only 3% was in the southern part of the country. But today, through our engagement with Elon Musk, Starlink, now we have satellite broadband. We can safely say that if you buy their facilities in any part of Nigeria, you will get access to a world-class broadband, which is key to digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. Today is 100%. Establishing an intervention in institutions, government, private, and community service, we have been doing that. From 2016 in NIDA to 2019 in current position, Almighty will be a witness, from establishing ICT centers to organizing training to providing intervention. I implemented over 2,600 all over the country. To the extent that we are providing ICT digital economy centers in religious centers for both Muslims and Christians. In Kano, we have done so many. Outside government, outside private sector, outside community centers, the religious centers, we have established many. This Imam al-Bukhari Foundation under Dr. Sani, we have done that. Currently, there is a school under Dr. Gadogaya we are constructing. Under Sheikh Abdullah, there is ongoing project. And this is example. In each and every state, you will discover that we have established a minimum of 30 to 40 ICT or digital economy center for our youth to utilize and build their capacity. But most of them, when they get unlimited internet, they go online. When they sit down on the computer, after an hour, when you search, it's just mind-boggling. Their interest is no more on entrepreneurship. It's no more on building their skills. A recent statistics conducted vindicated what I'm saying now. If you go through history, you discover that most of our people online in northern Nigeria, when they go online to search, they will search maganin maza, maganin karfin maza, maganin mata. These are the issues. But if you go to certain parts, you will discover searching about ChatGPT. What are the modern artificial intelligence applications? You will discover certifications that are being conducted globally. But our youth, whenever they get married, they will start searching all these things online. In Nigeria, We formally established Digital Economy Sector and Digital Economy Ministry in October 2019. Because of time constraint, let me go through briefly. When I took over as a minister on 21st August 2019, I briefed my principal President Muhammad Buhari about the challenges I discovered and my proposal on how to turn things around. Mr. President approved the establishment of a digital economy in Nigeria, development of national digital economy policy, and also redesignating the ministry from the Federal Ministry of Communications to Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. We develop a national digital economy policy and strategy for a digital Nigeria in order to diversify our economy away from oil and gas. Mr. President approved that. We developed the policy with 8 pillars. Number 1, developmental regulation. Number 2, digital literacy and skills. Number 3, solid infrastructure. Number 4, service infrastructure. Number 5, digital society, digital services development and promotion. Number 6, soft infrastructure. Number 7, digital society and emerging technologies. Number 8, indigenous content development and promotion. I'm trying to increase my pace because of time. These pillars are all being implemented. And with their implementation, we have turned things around today. Today, the contribution of ICT sector alone, without accommodating other components of digital economy, ICT sector is contributing almost 3 times the contribution of oil and gas to our GDP in Nigeria. Almost 3 times. That is what economic diversification is all about. We set up 3 unprecedented records. In the first quarter of 2020, ICT sector contributed 14.07 to our GDP. It was unprecedented then. In the second quarter of 2021, ICT sector contributed 17.92%. It was unprecedented then. Last year, we set a new record in the second quarter of 2022 by contributing 18.44% to our GDP, while oil and gas was contributing only 6-point-something% to the GDP. We increased revenue generation through digital economy. Recently, Mr. President directed an independent assessors to assess each and every sector and ministry based on the priority areas given to them. I was given 8 priority areas. With all sense of humility, I was able to deliver, with the support of all my colleagues, A+ in each and every one. I was given 8 priorities, and the assessment, the result of the assessment was presented during ministerial retreat on the 17th and 18th October 2022. Mr. President was there. KPMG and FCDO, Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office in the United Kingdom, with KPMG in collaboration with Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, assessed each and every ministry based on the priority areas. We were given 8. Priority number 1 given to me, which I personally signed like an undertaking that you must deliver, is to ensure broadband penetration in Nigeria. Under that one, I got 134%, while 70% is A. 4G penetration in Nigeria, we obtained 127%. Number 3, digitalization of government processes and functions. We got 99%. Number 4, to support digital identity, we got 86%. Number 5, to increase revenue generation for government, which according to the government is the most important priority assigned to me. We increased revenue generation by 594%. When I took over as the minister, the revenue generation from our sector was quarterly was 51 billion, but today is 408 billion. Number 6 is to develop national digital economy policy and implement. Under that one, we got 103%. Then number 7 is to collaborate with the private sector to create job opportunities for citizens. Under that one, we got 111%. And number 8 is citizens empowerment through ICT. We obtained 137%. So our highest score in the digital economy sector was revenue generation, 594%, while the lowest is digital identity need, is 86%. However, let me give you the statistics. NIMSI was established in 2007. Up to October 2022, when it was transferred to our country. Within these 13 years, they enrolled only 39 million citizens in 13 years, where government spent billions of naira. From October 2022, when data was transferred, no single kobo was given to me. But we increased the enrollment. As at 15 January 2023, the enrollment figure stood by 95 million. So we increased 56 million in 2 years and 3 months, while we inherited only 39 million in 13 years. So this is the report. The report was presented to His Excellency, Mr. President. He sent a special commendation to me that you have delivered what has been given to you. And when I went to him, he said, I'm thankful to the Almighty for blessing me with somebody like you. You have not betrayed the trust. And I'm glad to hear this. We have established many centers to support our youth. In summary, let me summarize the maybe solution to northern challenges. Firstly, we need to prioritize mentorship. It's not easy because managing our youth today is not easy. They can insult anybody. Today in northern Nigeria, nobody is above that insult. Nobody in northern Nigeria. But in the southern part of the country, I have been visiting the places. There are people that cannot be insulted. Most of their traditional rulers cannot be insulted anyway. They respect them. And also, they defend them. The situation is not the same. Tell me one person in northern Nigeria that is not insulted today. Only one person. I don't know him. Vinci, do you know anyone? Let us be clear. Is there anyone? This is a problem. So that is why mentorship is not easy. We have a population, youth population, not interested in hearing what is beneficial, but you have to tell them what they want to hear. If you fail to do that, you will be insulted. So that mentorship is easier said than done. I admit it's not easy. Because it is easier to mentor a population that is responsible, population that respects elders. But today, we don't have that. This is our number one challenge. Number two, what I mean by mentorship, each and every one of us should prioritize mentorship in our local communities, in our families, Islamic organizations, community institutions. We have to prioritize mentorship. It's beyond only teaching people how to perform ablution today. We have to focus on how to support them to become highly responsible through learning their religion on one hand and also learning what the world is all about today on the other. This is important. Number two, we must agree and accept the fact that even though we don't want to hear it, it is no more the era of accepting or obtaining empty certificates and degrees. It is no more that era. Today, if you want to get employed, there are many institutions all over the world, and there are job opportunities all over the world. They don't care about your class of degree or where you have obtained that degree. What they care is all about your skills. And these skills can be validated by certifications. We have many online certifications. Some of them you have to pay, some of them are for free. Cisco certification, Huawei certification. In the area of project management, there are many. In the area of cybersecurity, there are many. If you obtain them, today you can sit here and get employed by a company in the US. But when I present my degree from ATBU, they don't respect it. Apologies to our Vice Chancellor here. That is the reality. When you present, they don't. If you graduate from many universities in Nigeria, particularly outside medicine and few other courses, you cannot just go and present the university degree to some developed countries for employment. They will not respect you. Except if you apply for a terminal degree from that country, go to the UK, they can give you to enroll in MSc or PhD. When you graduate, then they can employ you. But you cannot take your degree, first class from ATBU, and say you want to get employed there. Most of them will not listen to you. But you can sit down on your computer, get connected to the internet. Within 6 months, you can get enrolled and obtain a certification. That is skills development. And that certificate is enough for you to get employed anywhere in the world. That is why today, freelancers are making money. You can sit at the comfort of your house. You can work for 10 companies globally through freelancing. Today in Bangladesh, they have the highest number of IT freelancers globally. More than 600,000 citizens are freelancers. It's through certification. We have to encourage our students. Let us continue with our degree. I'm not discouraging you from that. If I discourage you, I'm not fair to you. I obtain many of them. But that certificate, I'm sorry to say, degree certificate, today in Nigeria is overrated. It's overrated, I'm sorry to say. While skills are underrated. In the US, not Nigeria, in June 2022, Donald Trump, the then president, signed an executive order directing government that from June 2022, priority should be given to skills when employing citizens, not degree. They changed the scope of their employment from certificate-based recruitment to skills-based recruitment. It is an executive order in the US. Today, they don't care about which school you attend. Come and do it. What you can do is what is important. Some people have certificates, they cannot do it. Some people have skills, but they don't have any certificate. If you want to recruit, which one are you going to recruit? The one that can do the work for me. Because certificate is supposed to be a validation of the skill you have obtained. If that certificate has failed to validate the skill, then the aim of acquiring it has been defeated. Has been defeated. Thirdly, so this second one, please, let us be ambassadors. Let us become ambassadors. We have problem of unemployment and unemployability. A graduate without skills is part and parcel of unemployed youth and could be part of unemployable youth. Because as long as if you are employed, you cannot do the work, then the aim of employing you has been defeated. We have been employing many graduates. When they come, they cannot do the work. Most of the engineers, computer scientists, computer engineers, when you employ them, you either train them starting from basics, or you allow them to become only administrative staff, nothing more than that. Any technical work, you have to go and get a consultant to come and do. You can look at these Chinese people coming here. They are all welcome to Nigeria, but most of them did not complete their secondary schools in their country. But when they come here, they are the top-notch engineers during our road construction, bridges, and many more. I want to commend the effort of the Executive Secretary of NUC, Professor Abubakar Rashid. He's doing well in trying to change our curriculum in Nigeria. I have the privilege of having a copy from him directly. At least the effort is commendable. However, curriculum doesn't teach itself. There is need for those to teach should also be trained, particularly in the area of soft skills. prioritizing, critical thinking, creativity, complex problem solving, and many more. The next one in the northern part of the country, as we know, our tradition when it comes to our economy is largely on agriculture. Today, we have digital agriculture. I have the privilege of writing a book on digital agriculture. The draft copy is ready. Most probably in the next 2 or 3 months, the book will be available for our citizens. Digital agriculture is driving agriculture today. And there are so many innovative ideas in digital agriculture. For example, there is soilless farming. Today, you don't need soil to farm. There is what is called vertical farming. This is what is being practiced in countries like the Netherlands. If you go to the Netherlands, the entire landmass of the Netherlands is less than the entire landmass of Yobe State. Not only Yobe, 6 states in Nigeria, in northern Nigeria, each one of them is bigger and larger than the Netherlands. Number 1, Niger, 2, Borno, 3, Taraba, 4, Kaduna, 5, Bauchi, 6, Yobe. Each and every one of them is larger than the Netherlands. So their landmass is around 40,000 square kilometers. And they attain that even through sand filling, land reclaiming. It's true that they got it. And the population of the Netherlands, around 17 to 18 million people. But what they have been generating in agriculture at certain times is even 7 times higher than what Nigeria generates through oil and gas. In 2020 to 2021, they generated over 114 billion USD through agriculture. And look at the landmass. The population could not be more than that of Kano State. 114 billion USD through agriculture. And the Netherlands is the second largest exporter of agri-produce in the world, second to the US. And US is over 270 times larger than the Netherlands. But they are the second. But look at our land today in Nigeria, over 920,000 square kilometers. And over 70% of this land is in the northern part of the country. And it's arable land, though we have challenges of insecurity. However, we still have places that are relatively stable, but we don't want to go into. And if you partake in digital agriculture, you will increase the quantity to be produced, most probably by 10%. It reduces consumption of water by more than 90%. So there is need for adopting digital agriculture as part of our digital economy. In digital agriculture, you can do it at home. You don't need to go to outside our cities and towns. At home, you can at least produce what you consume 20%, and you can sell 80% of it. And this is what countries like Egypt started to implement. Their land is relatively small, is little bigger than our own, but we are more populous than Egypt, almost double of Egypt. But still, if you look at what they export, you will discover that they are doing well. And 96% of their land is desert. They have 5 deserts: black desert, white desert, blue desert, red desert, and western desert. No country has diversity of desert like Egypt. But still, they only manage that lane of River Nile. But they are the largest exporter of many products today in Africa. And they are generating what sometimes even higher than what we generate through oil and gas. And now they are adopting digital agriculture. They employ a company from Germany trying to convert their desert to be arable land by spending around 56 billion USD to achieve that. But our own is naturally an arable land, but we don't want to partake in agriculture, and most importantly, digital agriculture. Oh, time is over. Oh, that is interesting. So we need reorientation. Definitely, I know some of the things I said could not be comfortable to you, particularly our younger ones, but I have no regret. As long as Almighty is pleased with me, I have no problem. And we will continue to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. And there is no doubt we are willing to listen to our elders. Whatever they say, we also respect them and we comply. You have to give us that benefit of doubt. And this is indeed very important. And permit me to stop here. Thank you very much for listening.